All right. So this is the fun stuff for me. I get to nerd out. And so this is going to be a little bit of crystal ball, in addition to showing you what's available right now as far as the tip of the iceberg goes, as far as virtual reality, augmented reality, and how it pertains to real estate. So who in here has actually seen and or heard of any of the VR stuff in real estate? Okay. Oh, good. Excellent. So started off with one day, your clients will walk through 20 homes in an afternoon without leaving your office. Now, who said such a thing? That was Realtor Magazine last year. So they were predicting the VR boom that we are currently right at the tip of the iceberg. Now, what we're going to see most of the time, and you already see it all the time but don't realize it, is augmented reality. So for example, who remembers this guy? Pokemon Go? Now the funny thing is everybody thinks that Pokemon went. However, 68 million people logged in last summer. How many do you think logged in today?
168
No,
million.
5 to 6 million a day. Still. I'm sure y'all recognize this. The Snapchat filter. 168 million daily users. So you have an audience, future home buyers, future first-time buyers out there are being trained all day, every day in the use of augmented reality. And now, 3 weeks ago, Facebook unveiled the new Facebook augmented reality, and this is what Facebook is going to look like in very short order. And you now will be able to essentially put on your goggles, create your avatar, and surf Facebook in midair virtually. And as if there wasn't enough fake stuff on Facebook already, yeah, we get to basically recreate ourselves. And so this is essentially an episode of Shark Tank in the future, where it's actually in a Shark Tank. So, and you're there with your friends, everybody gets to see your reaction, and it brings the interaction to a whole nother level. How that impacts us right now, as far as augmented reality goes. Now this is for realtors, think in terms of working with builders and buyers that are wanting to, maybe they're gonna go buy a lot with the idea of like, what's gonna be on that lot? So right now, this is a real deal, East Coast, taking a two-dimensional static image of a floor plan, looking at it, that is actually looking at it through an iPad. It renders it in 3D right in front of the client while they're sitting there. So they can get an idea of what the structure will look like long before it's ever even begun to being worked on. Now, not legal yet as far as Netris is concerned, but it's legal across the country in a bunch of different MLS, is virtual staging. And it's perfectly legal on your website, just give a disclaimer. Just that it cannot be virtually staged images. So let's say, for example, we've got an empty house. Oop, where'd we go? There we go. Now we are instantly furnished. Again, empty, furnished. Better one, better two. Yeah. So it's like some folks have been to the eye doctor. I'm a little blurry right now. I'm waiting on my new contacts to get here. Better one, better two. Agreed. Digital painting is another. So let's say we don't like that reddish, wine-ish thing, blood-colored walls. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Again, better one, better two. Think of that in terms of builders will more and more be looking to have this on their website, and for the agents that are hip to this technology, you now have another leg up on folks that are trying to get, because we all know it's difficult to get in with builders. So here again, now let's say that wallpaper has got to go.
Curtains, no curtains. Delete plaid.
There you go. Control, Alt, Delete, plaid.
I could kiss you for that.
Now, that brings us to virtual reality. We have yet to fully emerge into the real estate world as far as full VR. Now, there are many different things, and I'll show a handful of them, that are actually able to be worked with the goggles, but we're not there yet as far as just an everyday practical application. But this is the food pyramid of everybody that invested last year, upwards of $6 billion total in VR. And it's like you can see a lot of folks there. We just look at the top. Facebook, Google, Apple, the top three, you already know it's not going anywhere. And to make extra sure that VR is not going anywhere, all you need to do is know that when you got Star Wars, people will come. So right now in LA, there is at the IMAX Theater in Hollywood, I believe it's $3 to $5 a minute to actually put on the full headset, go into Star Wars, and essentially live out every, what I've been wanting to do since I was like 9. So right now, there's a hot lead right there in LA. He's fighting Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers, and there's your future client right there. And so now that is all coming, because you figure that guy's paying $5 a minute to do that. So more and more folks are going to be on board. And so that brings us now to what do we have right now that's available and what you'll be starting to see here locally. So I actually just went ahead and pulled the top three, the three most popular and the three most prevalent. First, we'll look at iGuide. And iGuide takes existing off-the-shelf technology. It essentially modifies a Canon still camera into a panoramic 360 machine that is controlled by an iPhone. And so right now, this is a time lapse of, you can see, we've got some lighting issues here, but you can see the guy, he's essentially scanning his entire office. And what happens is then when you upload the 360 panoramic photos, it creates a mesh and a floor plan, and it took 11 minutes. And here's what it looks like when you put on the goggles here. Now, you're actually in the space, photorealistic because it's actually meshed HDR photos. The floor plan now hovers in midair, and you essentially steer the cursor with your eyes. So you see the green dot in the center, and you can get a sense of the layout as far as where you are in regards to the floor plan, and then look around.
Can you make yourself walk through it?
Now this is not, it's limited on this because of the way that the photographs are done, because it's really meshing photographs together. So there's not the sense of a virtual space. But it's a good question, and there will be something that I'll show you in just a minute that will actually address that. So then iGuide is that. Then Inside Maps is another technology that's currently available, and this actually operates off of an iPhone. And so this, again, going back to a builder, or if you had, I know several agents that list, they essentially try, and some do succeed in being the listing agent for, say, a new high-rise. This, controlled by the motorized bevel on the actual tripod, will scan the entire space. And the best part about this one is it just recreates the space virtually. It's not doing photorealistic. So essentially, if you had a high-rise that was being built, or if you had a new development in a new phase, as soon as they have one built and sheetrocked, doesn't have to be punch listed, doesn't have to be finished out, staged or anything. It creates a virtual space that you can then furnish and essentially do a walkthrough without the space actually even being done yet. So somebody could walk the floor plan of something that barely just has sheetrock and tape and bed everywhere. And again, you can actually virtually stage it and furnish it. And then the last is the one that I am currently most beholden to, which is Matterport. And Matterport goes to the lady's question here, where this is actually a proprietary technology with a 3D camera that actually scans the interior of a space, then creates a mesh. So the camera is controlled by an iPad, and it creates, the camera rotates, takes a scan, and that's how you get the sense of movement through. The two previous softwares, they don't have the ability to create essentially walls. So when it's just photographs laced together, you get the sense of how everything is relating to each other, but you could literally walk through the wall because the computer doesn't know. Whereas with this, you actually get the 3D rendering, and you get the dollhouse view, and you get everything to where you can move through the space. And so you can create virtual walkthroughs, you can do slideshows, you can pretty much do anything, but then you have the real mind blower that is the dollhouse and the floor plan, which is the actual house. So it's the floor plan of the actual property. And so the thing here is, whenever this first came out, I was blown away. And so I actually bought one of the cameras. And one of the things that I found was that everybody loves the dollhouse view, everybody loves the floor plan, and everybody loves the look of it. However, until those generations or the next generation of first-time homebuyers that are 100% video game ready, and like my nephew, he's in his early 30s, he's never not had an Xbox and all that stuff. Now he's totally immersed in that and totally ready. So what I had to do and what Flux Media did was bridge the gap between this. And so I took the Matterport and I took the element where if you were, say, my mom's age, it's not very user-friendly as far as she's concerned. And I'd get a phone call, I'm stuck in the upstairs bathroom, I can't get out, you know? And it's like, okay, that's not good feedback. So what I did was, I bridged the gap. You won't have any audio here because we're on an old-timey projector, but I bridged the gap where I essentially turned it into a movie, and with sound and text, it gives the walkthrough hitting the bullet points of the romance from the listing, and it allows for all the client has to do on the other end is hit play. And so now you have your 3D movement, and what I've done is basically done a walkthrough, automated it, turned it into a video, then I've turned it into a condensed file that I can upload to social media. And so what I wanted to do to connect the dots and how this all works with social media, and like I said at the beginning, I do a bunch of tech classes. So here, I was able to do the walkthrough and the guided tour, and all they have to do is hit play on the other end, and they get to see all the features that the agent wants to emphasize without having to worry about how do I work it, how do I control it, etc. And then the one thing that I wanted to show and that I wanted to get everybody aware of is in the world of social media marketing and all the things that you hear and all of the things that you see advertised and what people promise, nothing trumps the analytics. And so this is our actual business page. And really all I wanted to do, so I'm not selling anything or anything like that, but what I wanted to show is there's Kristen she's off in Washington. Oh, there's not Kristen.
We don't have our goggles on, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's $250 per goggle.
There we go. So there's Kristen. And so what I wanted to show are the analytics. So here we go. This was one, I'm in the current leadership class, and one of my classmates had this Midway Hollow. It was a complete and total makeover. Really cool property. But we went and shot this, and then what I do is when I create, so as a company, we're able to say a lot of things and do a lot of things and really promote the agent because I'm a third party. I don't, you know, it's not, we're like Switzerland when it comes to how we deal with agents or whatever, because my license is with an independent broker and Kristen's license is with Dave Perry Miller. But as the Team Flux idea, we are utilitarian, we're everybody. But so here, and what you want to look at, and this is what you would want to ask anybody else that's ever going to teach you or try to sell you on social media, it's like, show me the analytics. Because here, we've reached 4,400 people, and 2,400 of them actually clicked on it and watched it. So, yeah, if you Google good Facebook click-through and or engagement, 6 to 11% is considered a home run. So when you're clipping 50%, that's the mic drop moment. But one of the things that we want to do is promote the agents. And so the other thing is, whenever we work with the agents, I'm real big on getting the agent's personality out there. And come on, Wi-Fi, work with me here.
Can you make us look skinnier?
I guess technically we could. So we've got the agents that I work with. Now Blaine, he was a little more serious and earnest in his photo than I would have preferred, but it still gets the message across. So we got Coldwell Banker there, and again you see 1,600 people now have seen Blaine's photo and name go by in some form or fashion. But now when we get here, where I get somebody actually acting
Like a normal person?
yeah, like a normal person, And so she's like, I put in the thing, 4-inch heels, 2-inch jump, you know, where it's like, she's like this far off the ground. I was like, way to go. But you see, almost 5,300 people engaged, and the best part is it was less than $20.
Why did they engage? I mean,
Where is it posted?
It's just a Facebook post that then boosted. And then, of course, it all comes down to going granular on your target audience. But Carla is quickly becoming our mascot because she engages in the actual fun of everything. And then Chad, who's also in our class, he was Mr. GQ, didn't want to participate or whatever. We did this shot or this shoot over at Las Colinas Country Club, and we roll up, and the enclave over there, you were not allowed to have your own signage. They have to make you the for sale sign. So we went total guerrilla warfare. He pulled the sign out of his truck, put it down, and he goes, man, I brought a golf club. I'm like, yeah, do it. And so he basically is teeing off by his sign in front of the property, and we took the shots before the little security patrol could come. They came around, but we were already putting everything up because somebody had narked on us, and they were onto it. But the great thing is now Carla and Chad have a back and forth going where they kind of goof around, and
I've seen every single one.
yes.
This is great.
That's what I'm talking about. And the best part of this is, and Carla has been like I said, she's quickly becoming my mascot. She called me last Monday, and she was dropping off her taxes at the CPA, and she said, you are not going to believe this. The lead CPA saw my name on the schedule, came out and said, you're the jumping jack lady at the house. And I was like, bang, spike the ball. That's, you know, and so the only reason I say any of that is that you will, because I'm on every mailing list too as a licensed realtor, and there's social media packages, boost your SEO, blah, 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 fill in the blank, whatever. I always go and I immediately look at their footprint. I immediately look at their business page, and I immediately look at their Facebook page, and I don't remember the gal's name, but it was a hashtag that we were going around goofing on for a while because she had less than 60 friends, but she was pushing herself as a social media marketing expert. I'm like, who is even seeing your stuff? If there's less than 60 people in your sphere, I could get that by just opening the back door and just yelling. You know what I mean? It's like, I could get that kind of coverage. So I just say all of that, and I like to show the analytics because at the end of the day, you actually see what you're paying for, and the numbers don't lie. And then when I have the extra little boost of somebody coming in and saying, oh my God, somebody at CrossFit that I didn't even know I was friends with on Facebook approached me and said, I didn't know you did real estate. And then now they're having that conversation. And that's the thing. And it's like I said, doesn't have to be me, but just you will be bombarded.
Cost her hardly anything, you're saying?
No. And everything, like the other thing that I do whenever we do the marketing and do the shoots or whatever is the marketing budget. Like if an agent has a marketing budget, let's say that they have $100 that they want to put on something. Well, I just do it as a pass-through. I wouldn't make any money on, I'm not looking to do, meaning like if you give me $100, I just give it right to Facebook. Versus somebody that's like, oh yeah, give us, essentially give us your money and we'll be you on social media. Because the more tech savvy the folks are, meaning, every year that first-time home buyer at 30 or 31 years old, well, that's a new generation, you know what I mean? Every year, that 31-year-old is more tech savvy than last year's 31-year-old. And they will be able to sniff out somebody that's got robo-posting or somebody that doesn't know anything about who you are or what your message is, because how would I know? Like I just want it, my friends and the agents that I know, I try to morph them into like, okay, be who you are like at happy hour, just a little, but not that dialed up, but let's like shoot for the middle there, and yeah, and bring that out. And like I said, both of those two had to be convinced. And Blaine is a work in progress. He like I said, but he's now coming around. But like those two had to be convinced. And the last one I'll show you is where we did Carla. She's like, super power suit, you know, Briggs, she's Sotheby's, and so they have their whole kind of like image or whatever. And she wanted to, like here, I had to convince her to like, no, let me use the shot of you laughing and goofing around with the sign. She's like, they're not gonna like it or blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, you know, 6,000 people, 100 likes and shares, and she's like, oh my God, I got so many friend requests and people like hitting me up off of that. And I was like, well, there you go. It's because you were actually being real versus the Sotheby's Power Suit Ice Queen thing that you throw down whenever, you know, you think you have to. So I just wanted to like close out that with the social media and just look at the metrics and don't believe the hype. And I would never pay somebody else to speak for me in this world. So just be aware of that. And then if y'all have any questions or anything, by all means.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
plenty of time.
Yeah, what do you do for them that gets them so many clicks and likes?
Well, it's a couple things. One, it's going to be my personal network. So like between Kristen and I, say for example, we have 10,000 friends or give or take. So so that's a giant chunk of people that's going to see it on some level. Then the company probably has closing it. We've only been doing this since mid-February, officially. We were asked last year to speak at the January WCR luncheon kickoff, and somewhere around Thanksgiving, it was like, oh, we should probably actually like make this official, because we'd been kind of just working behind the scenes for a while. So we combined our two networks there. Then the company probably has close to 1,000 folks that have liked it since February. And so those people will automatically see. And then when you notice here, I'm actually bringing in everybody into the mix. So like in Facebook, whenever you post and you see the @ symbol, so that is how in a business post you would tag the companies. So now Briggs, they may not love the photo, but they're gonna love the reaction and they're gonna love it. So then they start pushing and promoting. Then everybody that Carla's attached to starts. And then what happens after that is the best way, so just a little peek behind the curtain, like here, another one. This one is run its course, but you'll see organic and paid. Organic means free, and then paid is where the actual budget went. Facebook has rigged the game. The organic is no longer able to be done just by itself. So what that really means is you have to pay. For anybody to see it on any substantial level, you have to pay. But the more people that you can get in the mix, on the front end, we will average, like, so say for example, Kristen's photo, which is still very, very new, maybe yesterday or the day before, you can see where, because of our network, the organic is just crushing it, and we haven't hardly hit any of the money. And you know, already has 101 likes because, you know, she's 29 and she knows everybody. She's everywhere. She's in Washington. So, but that gives you an idea of.
What kind of budget is total?
Oh, I think I put $30 on this.
Really? That's it?
Yep.
$30?
Mm-hmm.
Is the pay cut?
And so
It's a no-brainer.
we've spent $6.67 so far.
We were stressed too.
For those of us that don't go on Facebook every day or in the last month or even the last year. Unless my mother tells me that I have to, okay, then I usually do because of my bonus. But again, to me, it's, you know, I'm not of the generation that we're trying to reach. So for me, it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, because sometimes Facebook to me becomes too personal. There's things out there I really don't want to know about.
There is a delicate balance. So I'll be 49 in September. So I'm not, you know, I'm not a spring chicken by any stretch.
You're a young guy.
Ah, all right. Yes. But I was also, in a previous life, I was a mortgage guy at Citibank in the Ivory Tower, and we were not allowed to have a social media footprint. So I came from a world of complete and total internet lockdown, where I think we had a limited Google search, a limited Yahoo, and then the intraweb at work, and that was it. And it was literally, if you were found talking anything about mortgages anywhere, the hammer came down. And I had to get used to the idea of, oh, I have to be out there and I have to put myself out there But the thing is, once that actually happened, and the idea, like, my Facebook is 99% business. It's just that I happen to do business now with friends. And so it's this weird organic thing that starts to happen where, well, just like the photos of all the folks that I just showed, a big part of that resonating with so many different people was they were being real versus like a manufactured personality, like what you were talking about, like where, ooh, that's a little too personal. So I've done 3 what I would consider like personal things, like my grandmother passed, or I had to put my dog to sleep, or, you know, like things like that where I was hesitant, to say the least, to do it, but it was also a necessary evil, and I didn't want to keep having that same conversation or why I was in a funk or whatever. And so I got used to it and I did it in that regard. But then the payoff, not that I was looking for a payoff in any way, but it was
Genuine and approachable.
exactly. Yes.
So when you say 90% of your Facebook is business,
Mhm.
so do you have a personal Facebook and a business? And because you used to be,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
well, it used to be that Facebook would shut you down if you were doing too much business on your personal. Has
So-
that changed?
So my personal page, so like I took a photo of y'all, and it'll be up here soon enough. Look, there I am already getting getting hit from behind over here, which is awesome. Dustin got me. But so like here, where Romeo, government affairs, Metro Tex, tags me in a thing yesterday. And so technically that's business. All the photos over here, the white party, leadership days, all of that stuff, those are personal, but they're all business related.
But it's on your personal page.
All on my personal page,
You don't
yeah.
have a separate.
We have the Flux page, which is where I do all of the marketing, right, essentially marketing for other agents, is what we're doing. Does that make sense though? So I have, so if I'm here to look at Flux, you see all the photos that we do with the other agents and the videos and things like that. Now I don't post these. I post these as the company, and then I boost them as the company.
And you'll share them to your own page sometime, right?
And
Or
then,
is that the best way to do it? Post to our business and then share to our
Yes.
business? Or post to our personal?
so and that's an excellent question, and that is the sort of secret sauce on how to boost the organic side, because I will wait usually a day and a half, and then I'll come back around. So for example, whenever, and you can see how it kind of stretches your dollar. So the other day,
And timing's important.
timing is very important, and so where do we go? Whoops, let me go back to me personally. So here you can see like what I've posted where I get tagged.
I'm gonna go check out your page.
Oh, excellent. So yesterday, I shared Carla's video from Twin Creeks, and huge high five, and tagged her again. So she went under contract in 24 hours. I mean, really, the video just, and then it was over. And so then that gets a lot of back and forth. And then here, you can see where on the 16th, Blaine, he was about 70, he was closing in on 8,000 views on the 16th. That, boosting that again, got me another 800 views, because everybody then is like, what's up with this 8,000 views? What is that? Oh, I want to, there's that sort of, what are they all looking at? What are they talking about? And so you can see where from 9 o'clock at night on the 16th, basically a day and a half ago, we bumped it by 800 views, really almost 900, just in that short amount of time, because I posted it again as myself personally, and that's free. And so kind of stretches the dollars and gets more eyes on it and gets everybody's name that's in that little loop out in front of more people. Yes?
Can I go back to the VR for a second?
Yeah.
Are those technologies that we could or should be trying to do ourselves, or is that stuff that we're gonna wanna hire?
That I would say is just the individual's level of techie.
How hard is it? Is it something you could do with your iPhone? I saw the one thing had a,
Yeah, that one is, that's the one that essentially turns it into a 3D model of whatever the space is. Then I would think of I would think of all of this in terms of what is your end result wanting to be? Are you wanting to be seen as cutting edge, pushing the envelope, etc.? Is that something you gravitate towards? Because nothing is worse than having, you know, like $800 or $900 worth of gear that makes you mad, or that frustrates you, or exasperates you, and that you can't really convey your message. Because that's what I had. I had a $5,000 camera for the better part of a year until I figured out the movie style with the text and the music, because that was the thing where I eliminated the end user difficulty of it being like a video game. Now, I will come through and, like here, if I come and I'll show you the, when I post, let's see here, where's one that I actually did, like here. So if I post this and I put the 3D in the actual comment, this is what it looks like when they click on it. So now they go to Glen Rose and they get to do the full hot order. It's the full rendering, 3D, the whole 9 yards, where they can walk the house and everything. So the little video becomes like a teaser. And so the bullet points, the things there that we convey in the message, that's what I'm saying, like the technology is really high tech, high touch. I'm trying to get people interested in this property and get them to either look at the 3D rendering or to get them to message Carla and say like, hey, I want to go check that out. I want to go, or hey, I want you to do that to my house because I'm looking to sell. And does that kind of help as far as there is no like one specific magic bullet for any of this stuff. And like I said, any of them are going to be about $1,000 minimum to get into. And so then it becomes a matter of who's the person on the back end that is handling all the files, uploading the files, conveying the message there. Yeah, I mean, it could be, you know what I mean? It's again, that's a personal deal. But any other questions?
I have one. So let's say, and I'm just throwing this out there. So let's say we want to do a boosted post on Facebook. I think you've blown everybody away, so I'm trying to bring it back. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
boosted post on Facebook. What can you explain a little bit about like what you're trying to reach?
Yes, absolutely.
Select those filters.
Excellent question. So let's go back over here and let's say, find one. Give it a second to, okay. So you see here the full summary. I can go through, and I'm getting more and more practiced at this, and so I'm able to go more and more granular on the actual audience. But I can dictate the lifestyle. So this was in Twin Creeks. It's like right by the golf course or whatever. Really nice neighborhood. I think a $600,000 house. I can go through, and because it's the listing agent, well, I want other people that their job title or that their interests or their affiliations are with Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, New Homes. They drive a Lexus. They're CEOs. They're mid-level vice presidents, etc. Income level. I can go granular, and then I can also come through and exclude anybody that got a mortgage in the last 12 months.
What's granular?
Meaning, like, think of grains of sand.
Okay.
So we got the beach. Now I'm going to go. I can actually go and drill down and say, I don't want anybody that got a mortgage in the last 12 months. I don't want anybody that moved in the last 12 months. I don't want anybody that's in college. I don't want anybody. So I can really kind of structure my audience.
And you
So
can pay for that when you do your Facebook post?
yeah, exactly. So I do that, then I put the money on it. So I'm able to structure everything exactly to give us the best shot at reaching the exact crowd that we want. Because one of the things is we are in the world of big data and we're never going back. It's, you know, there's just no, it's like anything that is digital that we do have, see, own, or whatever, somebody has access to it. If they really wanted it, they have access to it. That's just the world we live in. So you can also use that to your advantage. we are in the world of big data, and because so many people do spend so much time on Facebook and like, I'm over here eating this thing in my new Lexus, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Oh, duly noted, you know? And so now when I want somebody that frequents those restaurants and drives that kind of car, boom, that'll come up in front of you as a sponsored post, and you won't even know it. You'll just be, because it's like, it happens to me all the time. I just bought a green screen so we can do videos at my house and put it upstairs. Well, now I get Amazon ads for all of the accessories that would go.
Shop on Amazon, it remembers what you're looking at and stuff.
Yep.
You can read your mind.
Well, and the thing is, it's funny that you say that because it's kind of true, because everybody always talks about like, oh, it's artificial intelligence or whatever. Really, at the end of the day, though, it's just analytics. The more information, because that's really all this does, is we have information, we have our experience, we have everything like that to where we can kind of figure things out in the moment, and that's all just analytics. We just do it so fast and we don't think of it in terms of search engine and looking at like a computer. But that's what the computer does, and so as we move forward, everything becomes more and more interconnected, and again, we can actually use that to our advantage, which is what we're doing here. And that's how, whenever I put Carla's, basically I get Carla's, almost like her dating profile of her ideal client, and we structure that to where that's who that photo gets in front of. And so it's not an accident that somebody at her CrossFit says, I didn't know you did real estate, I saw that thing the other day, da 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 da. And there you go. Anybody else? Oh yeah.
Well, when you talked about timing,
Uh-huh.
what do you think is the best timing, time-wise, during the week, during the hour, whatever?
They're like in the sponsored stuff, that doesn't really matter because it's going to be sort of dictated by Facebook. Now you'll have the initial like first thing in the morning. So if you figure somewhere between like 7:30 and 9, where people that go to a cube and sit every day. I know the times that I went to a cube and sat where I had access to like just goof around on the internet. I may or may not have goofed around on the internet in the morning at work. Same thing. And then the same thing at night. When you figure everybody's kicking back, watching TV or whatever, nobody just watches TV anymore. Everybody's got their phone or their tablet or whatever. And so those things would be, that would be the times where I would actually boost the things, come back around like a day and a half later and boost it personally. So then it gets in front of all of my people.
You can go on your page though and see when people are specifically hitting.
Oh yeah, you can timestamp that. It's like I just kind of keep the engine going, and as long as I am good on this part, and like I said, I'm getting better on the drill down with the actual audience, that will take care of itself. Yes.
Pointing at her or me?
Oh, I guess technically I was pointing at both of you, but ladies first. Yes.
Oh, okay. Several questions. Your company is Flux Media.
Mm-hmm.
Your name is?
Rick.
Rick
Last name Davis. Davis?
Davis. Okay, and what is the time of your class CCAR? Date and the time.
I want to say it's the 15th, and we're really going from there's 3 different classes from 10 to 3.
And so it's 3 classes?
Yeah. Intro, mobile, and advanced.
And I want your business card.
Oh, absolutely. Scott?
Okay, so give me the yin and the yang, the black and the white, both sides of the conversation of when people post listings on their Facebook page, because I've heard both sides about how crass it is and how great it is. So what do you hear, what do you see, since you're exposed to it more than I am?
I hear both. And I could see where if you're not wired to be salesy in your person, like you don't want to come across like, look at this thing, buy my thing, selling your house or whatever. I could see where that would be distasteful to some folks. However, I can also see the argument to be made, that's the world we live in. And we live in a world of all of this, at the end of the day, is social proof. And it's one of those things, there's the internet slang and the saying of pics or it didn't happen. It's like, if you don't have pictures, didn't happen. And so there's the idea, if you put it out there, depending on, now if you're friends with 300 or 3,000 realtors, you know, I can see where you probably would lean towards the folks being like, oh, there they go again. But it also comes down to scoreboard. If it helps you sell, myself personally, I much prefer doing it as a neutral third party for the agent and boosting things in that regard where, like I said, I have the neutrality factor of I'm not pushing any one broker or any one agent or anything like that, and it gets out to a massive audience without the agent having to do that salesy thing of pushing it. Now they can share it and they can, you know, give love back and forth or whatever.
So follow-up question then, as an affiliate, and we're trying to help our realtors that are business partners with us, would you, as a lender, title company, anybody on your personal page, share a listing of one of them?
Absolutely.
And what kind of comment then? I mean, you're not just going to say, oh, look at this great listing by Lori Steenis. I mean, because then people are going to think that, that it's just pure promotion and self-serving and not really a share that's a share for share's sake. Let me hear Rick's comment and then I want to hear Beth's.
Okay.
It could be both, because there's no getting around it. You're doing it because it's business related, and it's to boost you and the agent. I prefer to look at that as what I would call targeted altruism, where I'm doing something good for somebody else with the anticipation of it will pay off for me at some point, probably. You know, where it's yeah, exactly. And I look at that as it's big picture, meaning that if I come at it with I'm going to do this because it's good for both of us. However, I don't get to dictate when that payoff comes. If I'm cool with that and I expect nothing and I'm just doing it, then the good seems to follow. Somebody that does it all the time is Julie Jones. Julie Jones constantly puts other agents out.
Just, I went to a CCAR Facebooky social media thing one time, and they were saying that as agents, the best way is to not come across like you're promoting all the time, but she gave an example of a guy in Kentucky, a realtor who listed a lot of horse properties, and he was out on the property and running this video, and a snake went in front of him. Well, he posted just a video clip of the snake out on that horse property, went completely viral because, of course, everybody likes to look at a snake, you know. And before you know it, he had a jillion clicks on it, sold 3 properties because of the darn snake. You know what I'm saying? But it was interesting, and it got the message across that he's out there, out in the field working. So that's how you can do real sneaky stuff.
If anyone in my inspector gets a picture of a snake, I pay them $20 because I put it on my.
There you go.
So there's a bounty for snakes.
That's a whole nother business.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zombies get $1,000.
Rick, we'd just like to say thank you. This was excellent material.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.